going to show you guys a few of my favorite tools before we get to the this versus that, okay? So the first thing I want to share with you are these beautifully hand-painted rocks. This is done by Teresa Burgess. Her sister hand paints these rocks, and she put this foam that's on the back to keep it from slipping around. So I use these as pattern weights. Is that not the most beautiful hand painted, beautiful rocks? Wanted to share those with you guys. And then this little guy, you guys have probably all seen the what do you call it? The needle threaders that have a little a round, looks like a dime, a cheap thin dime with a wire on it, right? So it's got, let's see if I can get this in the light so you can see it better. See that little wire right there? So that's good for threading a needle, and you're used to that, right? However, it comes with another one on the other end that's longer and a little stiffer, and it's great for threading your industrial machine. I love that. Okay, and then this tool, this is plastic. It looks like it's metal, but it's not. It's plastic. It's very lightweight, and what it's used for is to hold your Chicago screws in place when you're tightening the screw. If you've ever tried to tighten down a Chicago screw and it just spins at some point, you know, you're sitting here doing this and it's just spinning, it's turning from the other side and it's not tightening down. This guy alleviates that problem. So what you do is you have this kind of a rubberized pad right there. And so the correct side or the outside of the Chicago screw goes down on that, like that, and it holds it in place so it doesn't move around while you're screwing it down, and it'll tighten down. Love this tool for that. Then I also have, I just got this recently. This is a hole punch sharpening tool. So your hole punches, you know, the ones that you use to pound on the end with a mallet to punch holes, right? Or the one that Patty showed earlier, the handheld one. You can sharpen this tool simply by inserting this in the end, and you just turn it. On the website, they show turning it, you know, in one direction. I'm sorry, turning it back and forth, but I tend to turn it in one direction, and I don't know which is correct or if it matters, but I go in one direction. So you can sharpen the inside, but then you turn it around and you can sharpen the outside as well by doing the same thing. Great little tool for all your little hole punches. All right. Then this is something I just got recently, and I thought it was pretty clever. So what I have here is a piece of leather and a piece of vinyl. And I drew using the Tandy leather marker, you know, the silver pen. I drew a line on both of them. And the same line is drawn here as well with a stitch over it. So if any of you took Sue's workshop with the princess clutch, or you've made the princess clutch and you know you draw the lines for the quilting on the outside, several people had issues with the pen blending and staining their thread when they're wiping it off. I got this from, I want to say I got it from Made on Jupiter, but I'll double check. It's on the list. It is a leather marker eraser, and it's a liquid that's in here. I'm not sure if you can tell. It's just a clear liquid. I'm not sure what's in it. And so I want to show you. It does erase the mark here, right? So I want you to see that it will erase it. Now, I made this mark like a couple of days ago, so it's probably not the best to leave the mark for several days, but it will erase it. And when you go over the thread, you can erase that mark too, and it doesn't affect your thread. Same here with the leather. Now, what I'm going to show you on this leather This leather is, doesn't have any pebbling. It's a completely smooth finish, right? So when you use this on here, it will leave a mark. Okay. I mean, the marker will come off, but it will leave a faint line where you ran the marker over the marker eraser over the marker. And I think that's only because of the finish is completely smooth as opposed to something that would be pebbled. Okay. But this is a great little tool. Okay. What's next? My, you have a question, Sue?
Yeah, Patty has a question about the marker eraser.
Okay, what's
yes? If you have a dark, so what's it meant to erase? Everything?
It's meant to erase it says leather marker. So I'm assuming they're referring to the Tandy leather marker, the silver marker, but I'm not certain that it will erase any marker.
Okay.
But I just got it, and I've only tried it on the silver pen.
It'll be interesting to know if you ever erase it over like a dark color thread, does the thread color come off a little bit onto the marker head and then transfer onto white thread later on?
Good question. Good question.
Yeah.
So right now it has a little bit of a black head, right?
Yeah.
So let's try it on this. It's not real dark, but I don't see it transferring to that. Anyway.
If it transfers to the white threads there, the black.
That's where I just went over a few minutes ago. It doesn't transfer on this one anyway. But that's a good thought that you should try it, test it. Always test it, right? Okay, so these are duckbill scissors, and I think, I'm not sure who uses them. I think maybe it's quilters or maybe for applique, but I use them in situations like right now. I made this faux pocket with an overlay, and Sue always trims out the fabric on the back. And so it's real simple to come in here. They're super sharp, and you can get right up next to that seam really simply. And all you're doing is gliding the scissors across the table flat, and it cuts really close. You see that? These are wonderful, and they're super sharp. And then this is a set of tools that's used if you ever install or use a chain on your bag and you need to open a link to attach it to, a D-ring or something, or you want to shorten the D-ring. These are jewelry making tools, but this I got off of Amazon. Again, you'll get a list. So you have tools that are both angled as well as straight. And here's how it works. So you notice that this is open. The teeth are open. And when I squeeze it, it closes. So this will close the link that you've opened. And this one will open the link. This one will open the link. So as you squeeze, it opens the link. This one closes the link. Really great tools. And if you notice, the tips are white. They did not come like this. What I got was this tool magic. And this stuff is what's on the tips because this metal is rather rough and it will scratch your hardware. So this stuff here rubberizes the tips. This was a tip from Teresa Burgess in one of our workshops. This was a fantastic tip. Anyway, this is a liquid, smells like paint. You dip your tool in there, you leave it out, and she'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you let it sit for 24 hours before you can use it. But this stuff will last forever because I will show you on this one. You'll see that let's see if you can see a better one. Here we go. Some of it is already starting to wear off right through here. You just redip it and it's good to go again. So handy tools.
Do you peel it off first?
I haven't tried it. I don't know that you have to, but I would think over time, if you keep reapplying, it's going to get pretty thick. You might want to peel it off.
Teresa said she's used it sooner than 24 hours, so she didn't quite leave it for 24 hours.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to get into what I call this over that, or this instead of that. And what that means is I have a tool that I've used and I found something else that I prefer to use over the original one. So I have the same tool like Patty. Absolutely love this tool for punching holes. I absolutely prefer it over using a punch. I just do. I think it's quick. The problem is you can't always get where you need to get to punch a hole, right? Because there's this throat that you have to be able to get into. So instead of hand punching, I have this tool that came. It's a Japanese hole punch. This is a tip protector. And so super simple that you have a screw-on tip that can be sharpened, just like I showed you earlier. You can sharpen the tips. It has, and you can clean this out when it gets filled with the hole punches. You screw it back down. The remnants will go through the tip and out this hole right here. And you can push with, like, say, a stiletto or something to get it all out. How it works is you use it on a punching pad. So this is a Poundo pad, Poundo board. It's from Tandy leather. They have different sizes. You can see I've used the heck out of it. But you need to be able to use something like this. It's hard rubber. Don't punch on your cutting mat. Anyway, you just set your material down and you literally push down and it punches your hole. That quick, that simple. And this one I got came with a bunch of different tips. I believe they're slightly different sizes, but they're hard to see that that's much of a difference in size. But I love, love, love this tool.
Cool.
So anybody that does edge painting probably has been at least mentioned to do some sanding between your edge painting. Not everybody does it, but if you do, then you probably recognize this sanding block for sanding purposes. And it's handy to use because it will fit in your hand and it gives, something for you to actually hold onto versus a piece of sandpaper, right? This is the sandpaper that I have. Now, this is 1000 grit. I got this from Rocky Mountain Leather Supply. Have since discovered you can get this on probably any hardware store and you probably pay less for it. Anyway, it comes in a sheet. I just trimmed down the sheet. And this is a bit bulky sometimes, especially if you're working on, say, a zipper overlay or something like that. So I take this, which is a heavy duty adhesive eraser. This will remove glue. It'll even remove edge paint, believe it or not, off of the surface of your leather or even the vinyl. And all I do is I wrap my sandpaper around that. So now I have something that's a little easier to use, not so cumbersome, and I can get into smaller places. I love that. Okay. Everybody knows what to use when you need a mallet. It needs to be a rubber mallet, right? We don't use metal hammers or metal mallets to work with our supplies and our leathers and such. And this works fine. However, Gail Squires turned me on to this dead blow hammer. You see, it says dead blow, and it's 1.5 pounds. They come in different weights. This one probably doesn't weigh any more than this. But what this does is if you're pounding, let's say you're pounding a seam or something you're trying to flatten, obviously, this will, and Gail can correct me if I have this incorrect, but what I believe happens is when you hit, it doesn't give the bounce back that this does. And so you're going to get more power and have less work in your hand to get the same results. Dead blow, hammer, mallet, whichever you want to call it. So we all know the dreaded, hated seam ripper, right? Everybody has them, everybody's used them from time to time, I'm certain. So if you have to have one, you might as well have one that works really well. And I got this one, and as you can see, the head is much bigger. Let's see, where's a better picture? Is that good? There we go. The head is much bigger on this one. Plus, it's got a really pretty handle, right? This comes out and turns around for storage so that you can be safe, right? The other end comes out as well and is now a stiletto. I don't usually take that out very often, so it's pretty snug fit. And it's a pretty gnarly stiletto. It's big. Anyway, I love this. If you're gonna need a seam ripper, it might as well be pretty and it might as well work better than this. Who doesn't know what this is? It is called That Purple Thing, okay? And it's a multi-purpose tool. I don't even know all of the possibilities that you can use it for, but what I have used this for was to help push fabric under the needle while I'm sewing on my domestic machine. You can always use this end to poke out corners, but I prefer a stiletto, and this is by Annie, by Annie.com. Because with this, you can do the same thing this does in terms of feeding your material under the needle, but you can literally poke, as long as you're in the seam allowance, you poke your stiletto through both layers. Because as we know, when the layers move under the foot, they may not move together, right? And so you don't want them to separate. This will hold those layers together as you feed it under. And it also has a little pressing tool on the other end. It's kind of lightweight. It's not going to do the best job, but it'll work in a pinch. And then we have our infamous lighter for burning threads. My issue with this is if I want to burn a thread like this one on the back here, right here. Okay, if I want to burn that, you see what I have to do? I have to bend the material sideways to get to it. And sometimes your threads aren't in a position where it's easy to do even this in order to burn it, right? And if you have a lot of threads to burn, this gets hot after a while. Hate it. This is a thread zap 2. There's multiple versions of this and it's on Amazon. It has this very fine wired tip. It's ran by a battery. You press this button and this tip gets really hot and it burns your thread right exactly where you want it. Okay, you don't burn your material, you don't burn your fingers. Love this. Oh, I was also going to share this with you. Shannon brought this to my attention way back when we did her curvy clutch workshop. And this is a fitter's tool, I believe it's called. So this is CS Osborne is the company. Very great, very good brand of tools. Anyway, this is a nice little mallet for, when you don't need that great big hammer. And you can even use this end to get really tight corners. Okay, let's get back to that topic of edge painting. I'm sure you all, if you've done any edge painting, you recognize this guy and you can see how well loved it is. Heaven takes super good care of this tool, but it's for edge painting. And you can see I got paint all over the outside and it's all over. There's little grooves. If you're not familiar with, there's little grooves in this tip and it's clogged with paint and it's meant to roll just like this. The problem with this is that it doesn't always roll for whatever reason. It doesn't always roll. So now you're just dragging it across the surface. And as you can see, it gets pretty ugly if you don't clean it right away. And if you have one of these and you like it, you probably know that you can take it apart and clean the inside out and clean this part out, right? Well, some people will use bamboo skewers for edge painting. I know Sue does, but I absolutely love this guy right here. This, I believe, is called a molding tool. It's paper crafters use this like in scrapbooking and such. But as you can see, it has a round tip on both ends. One size is bigger than the other. This allows for me a lot of control over the paint, better than this. And it's super easy to clean. You just wipe the tip off and it's done. And the bonus, dollar store, $1.25.
Serena says a crafting stylist.
Crafting stylist, thank you. Okay, so we all have screwdrivers, right? And there's a plethora of styles of screwdrivers out there. I'm sure we have more than one. We all have more than one. This one, the tip will come out and be replaced with another size or type of tip, right? It's a great screwdriver. However, Sue Cheek turned me on to this guy. This guy does the same thing, comes out, but guess what? It's double-ended. So now I have a Phillips head on this end and a flat head on that end. But the best part is that when you use this screwdriver, it turns in your palm of your hand, right? Because of this right here, as opposed to this one that you have to turn the whole thing and you don't get to allow, it doesn't allow you to put pressure or hold something in place as well, because this, you can, what they call palming it, this is called palming it, and you can turn this and keep the pressure and keep movement going in the direction you want without this falling off. Anyway, Klein Tools, great tool.
Available in different sizes too.
Then we have, you know, everybody has clips, whether they're the small Wonder clips or the large Wonder clip, or even these metal binder type clips. And they're great. They work great. They, you know, what I find is these break frequently. And of course, you know, they leave marks. They will all leave a mark in your vinyl, on your cork. They leave marks. So I have a few options that came in just the other day. This one just came in today. And Teresa, again, she's always finding great tools. I don't open this. Oh yeah. So these are hair clips. I got these on Amazon and they come in an array of sizes. So from these really long ones to these shorter ones to even, I think, an even smaller one, right? And these do not leave marks on your leather or your vinyl. They don't leave marks. Here's another one that doesn't leave a mark. I just got these in. They're still on the cardboard. They are makeup hair clips is what it says. Mini Hope is the brand. These are super cool because this part is silicone. The big plastic covered in silicone won't come off the clip. And then this side also silicone. This piece would come off if you wanted it to, but this will not leave a mark at all on your leather or vinyl. And then of course there's these binder clips. I got these from Rocky Mountain Leather Supply. These a little harder to use because it is a big binder clip. It came in a set of 10 binder clips and 10 of these little leather pieces. So you can use this to clip your leather material. But what I think you could also use it for is you could use them if you're going to try the hand stitching that we've kind of been looking at lately. This will help hold your materials together, your leather pieces together really well while you're stitching. Frees up your hand a little bit. Okay, and then last but not least, Hattie mentioned her pinking shears, and this brand, which is Fiskars, is not the best brand, probably not the worst, but it's certainly not the best. And I absolutely hate these scissors. They're stiff, they're hard. I can maybe cut like twice like that, and it's killing my hand. And I've tried putting oil in there and they're just, I hate them, right? Here comes Kai. This is a rotary blade with a pinking shears on the blade. Perfect cut, super easy, cuts like butter as all Kai scissors do. This one in particular has a setting, let's see if you can see that, says soft and hard. So if I'm cutting through, say, vinyl or leather, this tightens up the blade to work with the hard material versus, say, quilting cotton. Makes it run smoother over that because it's a finer, thinner material. Okay, so I think that's it. Is anybody still watching, Sue?
They're all just making comments that you're enabling them.
I'm enabling them. Okay.